how good this defense is and all the pieces that we just got done talking about, like everybody contributing, and then that one play, which was truly a team effort play, and knowing now how the game went, I think that might be the biggest play of the season.
Of the year?
Yep.
Oh.
Against a 6-2 team, against the number one 6-2 team,
Maybe.
Against the number one offense in football, and also knowing the offensive struggles that you have, and your defense got you 6 points right there. You ended up winning 21-14. I think there's a strong argument to be made that was the play of the year.
I'm not going to rule it out. I don't think that that's out of the question. I mean, it's just a massive play. I think it's especially sweet because of who it came against. It's because it was against Tyreek, man.
Well, that makes it sweet.
He's out here telling people that he's not going to be able to sleep for weeks if he doesn't score a touchdown against the Chiefs. He's saying pretty much they're going to catch this smoke no matter where they are. And then Trent McDuffie, in what is an incredibly heads-up play. He'd already blown up the play, Gold. The play was stopped.
Sure.
The defense was swarming. And instead of secure the tackle, he goes for the ball, takes it out of Tyreek Hill's hands, and then the heads-up play between Edwards and all this other stuff. That's what made it especially sweet. Tyreek screwing that play up. Oh,
well, yeah, everybody.
So much better.
Because you're right. This is what Tyreek had said before the game.
Doesn't really matter where we play at. I mean, obviously, it would have been great to play in KC, but it really doesn't matter where we play at. You feel me? They're going to get this work wherever, though.
Mm-hmm. No touchdowns for Tyreek Hill, by the way, in the game. Not a 100-yard game for Tyreek Hill.
He didn't have a 70-yard game.
The only touchdown he was involved with was the one with the Chiefs that he caused. Ooh, that was so awesome, man. That was fantastic.
Look, he's out here after this game. They're all sitting around. He makes a huge mistake. They beat a team who hasn't barely even sniffed the playoffs in 20 years, right? They barely even been near or around a playoff thing. One of their last two playoff appearances had Ronnie Brown and the Wildcat formation in a year that Tom Brady lost his year to an injury. And he's out here trying to call this a rivalry? Excuse me, Tyreek, just real quick.
Surprising.
That's just not the case. It's just objectively not true. Current rivalries ranked above the Miami Dolphins for the Kansas City Chiefs include Cincinnati, Buffalo, Philadelphia, the Chargers.
I feel like this is football's new rivalry.
No.
I feel like you have to meet in the playoffs at least once in the playoffs for it to be, unless you're in the division, for it to be really considered a rivalry.
A single regular season game? No, come on.
Now, if the Dolphins win the AFC East, then the Chiefs, the way things are shaping up for next year's schedule, the Chiefs would go to Miami next year. And so if you're telling me that the Dolphins are suddenly going to win their division multiple years in a row and they're playing every year, maybe. But no. This is the first time they've really played with these teams, with the current quarterbacks and all that. No, absolutely not.
Previously or earlier in the season, we had talked about how, Kansas City knows how good Trent McDuffie is, but the nation doesn't. I feel like, that play is something that really can spark that conversation more. I know that McCourty had talked about it on the broadcast as well, that like he is one of, if not the best corner in the league. Like that, this is one of those plays that you can go to and point to, hey, this guy, not only can he cover guys, but he knows that he has the intuitiveness to strip the ball out, can tackle well. Like he does everything well and is one of the most complete corners in football. I feel like this is one of those coming out party moments, I guess, for the nation more than just, KC.
I mean, he has 4 forced fumbles this year. We can talk more about him individually, but I was just asking for picks. I just thought he needed to take the next evolution as a corner. You get turnovers. He's like, well, they don't throw at me enough to get picks, so I guess I'll just force every fumble on the planet.
Yeah, he talked about it up at camp in St. Joe. He was on our show in August, and that was the one thing, like, what does it look like? What's the next level? And he even acknowledged, like, the interceptions, the turnovers. And he has certainly been able to do that. But Tyreek Hill,
holding Tyreek is an incredibly impressive feat.
Absolutely. No, Tyreek Hill is going to finish with, 1,800 yards, 1,900 yards receiving most likely in the league, if not more.
Yeah, he was on pace for 2,200 as of coming into this week. So.
And it wasn't the lowest output that he's had. I think somebody else, maybe it was New England or somebody, held him below 50. But if you factor in that he was held out of the end zone and he made the biggest mistake, although give McDuffie credit for forcing it, but the biggest mistake of the game right before halftime, and then to see how the game went in the second half where the Chiefs offensively did not score, that was a game-deciding play.
He's still on pace for 2032.
I mean, yeah, he's
yards this
ridiculous.
season.
But next game out for the Dolphins, he'll have 150 and 2 touchdowns. But that's the point of how well the Chiefs performed against him.
What I like about this is that this, in my opinion, this whole Tyreek conversation and him being like, oh, they're gonna have to wear it no matter where we are. Doesn't matter playing Germany or Miami or Kansas City. He was incredibly motivated for this game because he wanted to prove to Miami that it was to prove to the Chiefs that it was a mistake that they let him go. And look, the Chiefs could have already buried that conversation the second they won the Super Bowl without Tyreek Hill. I thought the conversation of should they kept Tyreek was dead. But if you had any remaining doubt, they went against the man. They faced Tyreek on a neutral site. Now, less neutral because Chiefs had more fans there. But they had to fly all the way to Germany. They got there early. All of these things. And what did they still do? They still took down Tyreek. They held him to 8 for 62 out of the end zone, and he made the biggest mistake. This week lead up, though, it did make me like Mike McDaniel more. The more and more you have, I like Mike McDaniel. Yeah. Big fan of Mike McDaniel. Just like the way he treats all his players, the way he acts.
Oh, players love him.
I big fan. I think that he would probably be a very successful coach in the NFL for a long time. Just not with Tyreek this time because they held him down.
They're still the considerable favorites to win their division. So it just continues.
That's because Buffalo couldn't get a win last night again.
But everything we said going into the game about the Dolphins still remains out there with the question of beating the step up in competition, the championship caliber teams, Eagles, Chiefs. What happens when they play them? They're completely different. Their offense is completely different against those teams. And that's the big question that's going to loom. The Dolphins are going to make the postseason, and there's a very good chance they end up winning the AFC East as well. And so they'll host a playoff game. But we'll see. We're way too early to predict it. But I'm just telling you already based off of how they have performed against playoff caliber, championship caliber teams.
First game's going to be a fight.
They will be a popular pick for the home team that hosts a playoff game if they win their division to lose to the wild card team out of the North, most likely, right? Whether it's Cincinnati, whether it's going to be a wild card team like Pittsburgh or whoever, Cleveland out of the North, like that team that gets to go to Miami. They're going to be a popular pick, I think, already. The way it's shaping up already, and there's still 9 weeks plus to go.
Did you see the text line said he's a man of the people. He vapes, I vape. Did you see the clip of him explaining that on Pardon My Take one time when he was like, he's like, hey, were you vaping on the sideline? He's like,
we had the audio at one point.
Oh, dude, it's so good because the way he describes it is he's clearly admitting that he did it. He's like, but I was embarrassed enough by that moment that I've quit cold turkey since. Oh, man. Look, they're a fun team. I understand why people would hitch their wagon to think that with an offense like that, they could do whatever. But at best, they're the reincarnation of the 2018 Chiefs that came up short because they had absolutely no defense with it. But their bigger problem is they're not even that team right now because they don't beat anybody who wins. They just beat up on bad football teams because they're a lot better than the bad football teams. But then when push comes to shove and they have to actually beat somebody who knows what they're doing just like them, has an identity, can control some of the action, they have a hard time. And that's what happened with Tyreek. Tyreek's very good. There were some moments in that game I'm like, God, Tyreek is still so fast. He gets separation in areas he shouldn't. He's a frustrating player to go against. And it was still 8 for 62 and one touchdown, but the wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, it was you could not have asked for a better performance against him and a all-around defensive performance than what the Chiefs gave against the number one offense in football.